Hey Canucks fans, we have some more roster and practice news as the Canucks get set for their home opener tomorrow night against the Calgary Flames. So let's get right into it. The good news, Conor Garland back as a full participant in practice, back in a line, on his rightful spot on the right wing on the third line. So let's get into what the lineups look like. Same top six, at least the way they practice, with Miller, Besser, and Heinen, and Pettersson, DeBrusk, and Sprong. Now the third line is Suter, moved to the middle between Hoglander and Garland, and that bumped Aatu Raty actually to an extra forward spot. So again, it's Pius Suter on the third line between Garland and Hoglander. It's kind of what I predicted yesterday, just the experience factor over Aatu Raty. And then their fourth line still of Teddy Blueger between Niels Aman and Kiefer Sherwood. So again, the bottom six, Suter between Garland and Hoglander, and then Blueger between Sherwood and Aman, and then Aatu Raty is the extra forward. Then the same top 6D, Hughes Hronik, Susie Myers, Forbert Desharnais, Noah Juleson as the extra skater because Mark Friedman was put on waivers, and I'll talk about that in a second. Just bouncing back to the whole Conor Garland coming back, then Pius Suter actually centering that line instead of Aatu Raty. Throughout the preseason, it was Raty between Hoglander and Garland, Raty between Hoglander and Garland before Garland got hurt. But that was because Teddy Blueger actually wasn't a participant until the very end, the very final preseason game. So with Blueger out, you could have Raty as your third center, and then it could have been Suter or Oman as the fourth line center. Then as Blueger came back, Garland got hurt, so now you could still keep Raty on that third line and just have Suter on the wing on that line. But now that everyone is back to health, Blueger's back, Garland's back, Suter's back, rightfully Raty is probably not one of the top 12 forwards right now. So once again, it's Suter between Hoglander and Garland on the third line. The fourth line has Blueger between Sherwood and Oman. Of course, Hoglander's probably there because of Joshua when he comes back. Maybe he goes back with Suter and Garland. They had a lot of success. Also, Blueger and Garland had a lot of success with Joshua. So regardless of who's the center between Garland and Joshua, you're likely going to see those guys on the third line. So then when Joshua gets back, we will find a spot for Niels Hoglander. So that's how the Canucks line up, at least at practice, and that's how I anticipate that they'll play tomorrow with Sheilov Zanet and Kevin Lankinen bagging him up. I'll get to Joshua in a second as well, some good news regarding him. So I mentioned Mark Friedman. Mark Friedman, even though he's named on the opening day roster, remember I was talking about the whole thing about sometimes your opening day roster is not going to be the same as your opening night roster. What's the difference between time of day, day and night? Opening day rosters, they're truly the opening roster of the season, but you might not have your first game until that night, the next night, 2 nights later. So it sounds like that Mark Friedman will not be on that opening night roster, and they're only going to have 22 skaters, even though they can have up to 23, even with the salary cap room. So Mark Friedman sent down to Abbotsford, well, placed on waivers first because he has to clear waivers. Last year, he went up and down a little bit without anyone claiming him. He had a decent preseason. He's kind of one of those, 7th, 8th, 9th defensemen in any organization. I don't think he's in anyone's top 6. So I'm not convinced that a team is going to pick up Mark Friedman. I might be wrong, but I think every organization has guys that can fill in, first, second, or third call-up spot. So I don't anticipate Mark Friedman to be picked up on waivers, but we will find out at 11 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. So Mark Friedman being sent down, and as of today, they hadn't called anyone up. They could do that tomorrow. They could do that on Thursday or Friday. When asked about it, Rick Tocchet said Arshdeep Bains is a candidate. Arshdeep Bains won't be in the lineup tomorrow. Now, whether you mean lineup, i.e. the 18 skaters dressed or the 21 skaters that are available, we're kind of splitting hairs there. But maybe Arshdeep Bains is called up tomorrow, even though he won't play tomorrow night. That's a better way of putting it. And maybe he becomes an option for Friday, whether he gets called up Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. But for now, the Canucks are now down to 22 on their active roster. 13 forwards, with Raty now being the extra. 7 defensemen, Juleson's the extra, and Friedman trying to clear waivers, and then the 2 goalies. So 13 plus 7 plus 2 makes 22. You have room for 23. So right now, they are carrying 1 extra forward, Raty, 1 extra defenseman, Juleson, and then that doesn't even include Demko and Joshua. Now, good news about Dakota Joshua, he's been skating with Demko, so actually good news on both of those guys. And Joshua sounds like he's going to go on this road trip. Hopefully it still goes through because they're supposed to go to Florida, and we know that they're being ravaged by hurricanes right now. But we'll we're always thinking about the people in Florida, those that are affected. But when it comes to the Canucks, I guess they won't worry about it until the weekend. And they got to get through their first 2 home games prior to that. So it sounds like Dakota Joshua will be going on the road trip with the guys next week. Not necessarily playing, but certainly being around the guys and feeling like he's part of the team, which he certainly is a big part. So that is cool news as well. Actually 2 other notes from practice. They did power play units, the same big 5 of Hughes, Pettersson, Miller, Besser, and DeBrusk on the power play 1. Power play 2, I think this is the way they're going to wind up. Now that Garland was back at practice, I can't remember who was in his spot last time. Maybe it was Suter or someone. But the second unit looks like it's going to be Niels Hoglander at net front, Philip Hronek on the point, no surprise there, and then Sprong and Garland on the 2 flanks with Danton Heinen in the bumper spot. So the second unit of the 3 H's, Hoglander, Heinen, and Hronek with Sprong and Garland. Finally, people were tweeting about they're starting to install new seats at Rogers Arena. It's not all going to be done before tomorrow night, but we're not talking about the big cushy VIP seats in the club section there, or that specialized club section, premium club section. That's what I'm trying to say. But they're starting to replace all of the seats in Rogers Arena and say they're black. They look a little bit not as bulky as the red ones, but for those of you that care, they have a cup holder, and your cup holder is actually attached to the back of the seat that's in front of you. So hopefully you don't have jackets and hair from other people going to the cup, but we will worry about that later. That's why I guess you need a lid, or you just got to be careful. But yes, for everyone wondering, the new seats are black and they have cup holders on the back of them. So I'm sure both elements will make people very, very happy. So Canucks fans, there we go. We get closer to the start of the season. My channel is growing. Thank you for your support. A lot of interest in my shows, in my live streams. My next one is tonight at 11 p.m. And don't forget my 24-hour live stream coming up this Saturday and this Sunday. I'll continue to share more guests as the week goes on. But I hope you join me tonight at 11 p.m. We'll talk about this a little bit more. And let me know, do you think Mark Friedman will clear waivers? And are you fine with Aatu Raty being the extra forward now that Conor Garland is back and Suter slides into the middle on that 3rd line? Shout out to my sponsors, Vanity Experts Real Estate, Coach Patrick Liu, weight loss coach. Thank you, legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Andrew Chang, Hall of Fame and franchise members. And thanks to all of you for watching, liking, and subscribing. On your way out, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. You can leave a donation if you want. You can become a member, upgrade your membership, and definitely leave a comment down below your thoughts on the news of today, whether it's Friedman, Garland, Ratu, Joshua, or new seats with cup holders. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. I hope to see you tonight at 11 p.m. right here on this channel for my nightly live stream. God bless, and go Canucks go.